All right, algebra students, here's the PolyOp 1-2 test review. Here's our video. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. Number one says find the product of the following. Product means we're going to multiply. Okay, and the product also means that it's the result after we multiply. So I'll show you what that means. To start off with, this is just a basic distribution problem right here. So all we're going to do is we're going to take that 9, we're going to distribute the 9 into each term. So I'll have 9 times 2 is 18, and then there's an x, and then 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Just like that. Okay? The product is what's right here. It's this end, it's our ending result. It's right there. Okay? So now we can do the same thing with the other one. We've got negative 5x times x. Negative 5 times our coefficient of 1 on the x would also be negative 5. Then remember, when we have x times x, that makes x squared. That's an important piece. X times x always makes x squared. Now for the second part, negative 5 times a negative 6 is positive 30. And then there's an x, one x between them, so we've just got that x that kind of trails along with. All right, so the product, again, on this one is negative 5x squared plus 30x. In this case, the factors are the two things that I multiplied together. Okay, it's important vocabulary that we need to know. Now from here, we're moving on to our tiles. Okay, so there's two types of problems that you need to know how to use tiles for. One of them is like this, where they're all just kind of laid out like this, and we just need to add them together. Now, as a reminder, our big tile, our big one, that's an x squared. Our skinny looking one, that's an x. And then our really little guy, that's a 1. And then if they're shaded in, that means they're negative. So if we look right here, if we have tiles of the same size that we're looking at here, where one of them is positive, like this one, and then the other one's negative, like this one, then a negative and a positive cancel out. They make a zero pair, so they go away. So before we try to figure out what we have here, the results, what we're going to do is we're going to cancel out any ones that can be canceled out, where there's a positive and a negative. So we did that with one. Now we have another positive and negative big tile, which is our x squared, so we can cancel those ones. And then that's it for the x squareds. Now here we've got 1x and a negative x, that can go away. Okay. And then we also have a negative 1 and a positive 1 that can cancel as well. Now we can add up what's and put that into our result. So I've got a negative x squared tile. I'll go negative x squared. And then I've got 1, 2x tiles, so I'll go 2x. From there, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of my little tiles, so I'll go plus 4. Okay. Number 3 is essentially the same thing. But instead of using tiles, we've got our normal representation. So right here, I've got, starting with the x squareds, I've got 4x squareds and negative x squareds. So 4 minus 1 would be 3x squareds. Now right here, I've got a 2x and a positive 9x. 2 plus 9 is 11. And those are my x terms. And then what's left is that negative 3. So he can just hang out right here on the end. Now, something I'm seeing lately is that when we're combining like terms, people are trying to change my base and my power. Well, when we're adding or subtracting our terms, the base and the power stay the same. So my x squareds stayed x squareds. My x's stayed x's. Okay. The only time that those change is when we multiply. Okay. Adding and subtracting doesn't change the power or the base. Number 4, it says we're going to subtract. So we're going to subtract. Now, just, don't get intimidated by the word subtract. It already has it laid it out for us, right? We're subtracting one polynomial from another. It just really means simplify. It's really the same thing. Okay, all we're going to do is we're just going to combine our like terms. But before we do that, we got to look for things to distribute. So right here, I've got a negative that needs to be distributed to this polynomial here. Okay, so we need to distribute a negative here. Here, there's nothing in front, so there's nothing to distribute. So I'll go ahead and rewrite it all over here. So I've got 8x squared plus 3x plus 1 And then now this part. A negative, distributing a negative just changes the sign. So a positive 3x becomes a negative 3x squared. And then we've got a positive 4x. And then that'll be a negative 4. All right, and now it's just a matter of combining our like terms. I've got 8x squared and negative 3x squared. That's going to be 5x squared. I've got 3x and 4x. That's going to be plus 7x. And then I've got a plus 1 and a minus 4. Makes them negative 3. So we look for the one that looks identical to this. We've got A right there. Okay. Now number 5 should look a little familiar. We've seen this before. Which expression represents the area of the shaded region shown below? So the shaded part is the big one, the area of the big one minus the area of the small one. So we need to find both. Okay, so we need to find both the area of the big one and the area of the small one. So the area of the big one is going to be 6x times 5x. 6x, and then we're going to multiply that times 5x. 6 times 5 is 30, and then x times x makes x squared. So there's our area of our big one. Now our area of our small one is going to be our length times width on this one. So we've got 2x times 3x minus 2. So the area of our small one is going to be 2x, and then we're going to multiply that by 3x minus 2, just like that. Okay, this one we actually need to distribute. So 2 times 3 is 6. X times x makes x squared. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And then there's an x. Okay, lastly, we need to take the area of the big, subtract the area of the small. So we'll take my area of the big one. So it's area big minus area small. So my area of my big one is going to be 30x squared. The area of my small one, I'm going to subtract that, was 6x squared minus 4x. Big minus small. Got to distribute my negative here. So now I've got 30x squared minus 6x squared plus 4x, right? Both these signs change. And now I have like terms. 30 minus 6 is 24x, and then squared, and then we've got a plus 4x. Okay, so that ended up being the answer there. So 24x squared plus 4x goes right here. That's C. Okay, so all this was for that one. Okay. In number 6, it says find the sum. Sum means we're adding, right? We're going to add these two together. So we're going to add these two pieces together. So I've got a 2 times x squared minus 3x. And then I'm going to add that to, because we're talking about sum, 3x times x minus 1. Just like that. Okay, we got to distribute first before we add and combine like terms. So we'll multiply the 2. 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and then x. Now we're going to add that to this one. We're going to distribute these ones. 3x times x is 3x squared, and then 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. Okay, from there we can combine like terms. I've got 2x squared plus 3x squared. That's going to be 5x squared. And then I've got negative 6x minus 3x is negative 9x. So what I'm looking for is 5x squared minus 9x. Look through my answer choices. I see C right here. C. That's my answer choice. All right. Okay, from here to the other part. Here's the other part of tiles that we need to know. Okay, so we need to know how when they're all laid out. We also need to know what the product is from here. So we need to be able to read the product, which is just right here. This is the product when we use tiles. And again, we're just adding them together. I've got 1, 2, 3x squareds, 3x squared. I have 1, 2 positive x's. I have 1, 2, 3 negative x's, right? So negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1x. And then I've got a negative 2 right here on the end, so I'll go minus 2. Okay, so you just got to be able to add them together. Now you could have done this too. We've got a positive cancels with a negative. A positive cancels with a negative. That left us with 1, negative 1, and that's where the negative comes in right there. Okay. Number 8. This is another good one. Number 8 is the box. We're multiplying. Find the product, right? Product means we're going to multiply them out. Here I've got x plus 4, so I'll go x and then plus 4. Right here I've got 3x minus 5 is my other factor, so 3x minus 5. So then from there I just need to multiply. X times 3x is 3x squared. Okay. 3 times 4 is 12, and then x. X times negative 5, negative 5x. 4 times negative 5, negative 20. So the last thing we need to do is we need to add it all together. I've got 3x squared. Okay, that's that one. Now I've got 12x's minus 5x's is positive 7x's. Okay, and then on the end, minus 20. Okay, now we can do the same thing with the other one. We'll do the box. I'm just going to use the box. Okay, so we got our box. Put in our factors, 3x minus 6, 4x plus 2, and we multiply. 12x squared, right here would be negative 24x, right here is 6x, right here is negative 12. Put them together, 12x squared, right here I've got negative 24 plus 6x is going to be negative 18x, and then minus 12. Okay. If you need help combining your like terms here, just put it in your calculator. Okay. So if you need help with that, do the coefficients in the calculator. You got negative 24 plus 6, negative 24 plus 6, negative 18. So you see that's negative 18x's. Okay. All right. Now number 9, that's something we haven't talked about in a while. Equivalent. Okay, equivalent means the same. Okay, so we're looking for where y1 and y2 are the same. So if we look here, well, they're the same. But then if we look, we keep going, whoops, those aren't the same. So it can't be A. Right here, negative 4 and 4 are not the same, so it can't be C. Negative 2 and 3 are not the same, so it can't be D. Look at that, 3 and 3, 6 and 6, 9 and 9, 12 and 12. Bingo. B is the same. Okay, equivalent means the same. Number 10, we get into that vocabulary again. X plus 3 and x minus 8 are factors of which polynomial? Well, if you remember, factors are what things that we multiply together. So we multiply factors. So what it's saying is, which one of these is the result of multiplying these two? My handy dandy box comes back. Okay, x squared, 3x, negative 8x, and then negative 24. So putting it all together, x squared, 3x minus 8x is minus 5x, and then minus 24. Okay, x squared minus 5x, oh, there we go. Didn't even need the minus 24, and we knew. All right, so there's our, that's the front side. Now for the back. Now for the back. Here we have a diagram below, shows the floor plan of a rectangular room. What is the area? Area of the room. Area means we multiply. Area means we multiply. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply length times width. Keep going with that box. 5x plus 3, 3x minus 4. Okay, now we can do it. 3 times 5, 15, x times x, x squared. 3 times 3, 9x. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20x. Okay, and then negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. So now when I'm putting it all together, 15x squared. Got to add these two together. Okay, so let's do that on our calculator so we can make sure we get the right answer. Okay, I've got negative 20 plus 9, right? Negative 20 plus 9 equals negative 11. So it's negative 11x. Okay, and then minus 12 on the end. All right, so we looked through our answer choices. Negative 11x minus 12. There it is. D. All right. Number 12, this is a question a lot like one of the ones from our assessment yesterday. The height of a poster is 4x plus 10. Its perimeter as a whole is 14x plus 24. What's the width of the poster? So what we're looking for is this width here. Okay. Now we know 4x plus 10 is over here. That means 4x plus 10 has to be over here. We know the width is here. We know the width also has to be up here. So what we have already from the perimeter, our perimeter is 14x plus 24. Now perimeter means we're adding. So if we add up all the sides, it equals this. But we don't have all the sides. We need to know what these are. So let's take away what we already have. I have 4 and 8 x's already. And I have 10 and 20 for my constant already as well. So this is what we have. What I just wrote here, this is what we have already. What we have. Okay? What we want to find is what we have left. What's left? What's gonna make up the rest of this between these two? So if we subtract, 14 minus 8 would be 6x's. 24 minus 20 would be 4. This is the piece that's left over for this width and the other width. Okay, so this is actually double what the width is, so we need to divide it into 2. So we divide it by 2. 3 divided by 2 is, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, so that is our width right there. Okay, so that was our width. Right here we've got 13. We've got a rectangle shown. We're trying to find the area again. So again, area means we multiply. And what they gave us here is essentially just a weird looking box. To find the area of the box, that would be 5 times 4x would give us this piece. So 5 times 4 would be 20, and then there's an x. Now the other piece, 3x times 4x would be right here. 3 times 4 is 12. X times x is x squared. Okay, so I put them together. 12x squared plus 20x. It's right here in D. Okay, finding the area and it gives you a box, use it. It's right there. Now if you look at 14, it says if x equals 4, what is the perimeter of the equilateral triangle? A couple pieces to this. Equilateral means same sides. So all the sides are all equivalent. They're all the same. Okay, but then also it says, if you look at the answer choices, they're all just a number. If you look at this, that's an expression. But we come back to the beginning. If x equals 4. So if x equals 4, that means this is equal to 3, and instead of x, I put 4 plus 8. Check it out. 3 parentheses 4 plus 8. Okay, we just plug that right in. Enter. 20. So each side is 20. All right, each side is 20. So we'll come here, 20, 20, and 20, 20, 40, 60. Bingo. Right there. All right. Last piece. Last piece here. Number 15, find the area and perimeter of the rectangle below. Again, area multiplied perimeter, add. Okay, area means we multiply, perimeter we add. So let's do the perimeter first. If this side is 4x plus 7, that means the other side is 4x plus 7. This is 2x plus 3, the other side is 2x plus 3. And then all we're going to do is just combine our like terms. I've got 4x's plus 2x's would be 6, plus another 4 would be 10, another 2, 12x's. For the numbers, 7 plus 3 is 10, 7 plus 3 is another 10, 10 plus 10, 20. Right? That was the easy part. Area means we multiply, so let's do that. Let's make the box. 4x plus 7, 2x plus 3, 4 times 2 is 8, x times x is x squared, 4 times 3 is 12, and then x, 2 times 7 is 14, and then x, and then 3 times 7 is 21. All right, so now we just put it together. We got 8x squared, 14 plus 12 is 26x's, and then a 21 on the end. There's our area. All right, 16 we're going to skip. It's another area of the shaded region question, but the answer choices are no good, and I don't feel like we need to beat that to death. So we'll move on to 17. 17, pentagon has 5 equivalent sides. Again, same. Equivalent means same. If all the sides are represented by expression 3x or 3h plus 6, what is the perimeter of the shape? Remember, perimeter we're adding. So all the sides are 3h plus 6. 3h plus 6. 3h plus 6. Guess what? This one's 3h plus 6 too. All right, so there's that. Now we just add them together. There are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 h's. 15h. And then right here I've got 6, 12, 18, 24, 30 for my constant. And there we go. Another way to do this is we could have said, oh, there's 5 of them. So 5 times 3h plus 6. That would work too, because then 3 times 5 is 15, and then that h, and then 5 times 6 would be 30. So either way works. Either way works. This last part is talking all about the how to use the calculator to check your answers. So let's get our calculator out and we can actually do it together. So on the calculator, what it's showing us is that we have in y equals, we've got x plus 2 times x plus 3. And then y2, we've got x squared plus 5x plus 6. And what it's asking is part A says, using the table feature, how do you verify that the y1 and y2 is equivalent? Well, again, equivalent just means same. So if you look, second graph takes us to our table. Check out y1 and y2. They're exactly the same. But x is not exactly the same. It's just y1 and y2 that are exactly the same. So what we're looking for is y1 and y2 are exactly the same. That's what we're looking for in the table. Now part B, it's a little tricky. It says using the graph feature now. So instead of the table, we're using the graph. How do we verify that they're the same again? Well, for this one, let's actually look at the graph. So instead of hitting second graph, we'll just hit graph, and we'll take a look at what happens. There's my first one, and that's the only one that showed up. So what we're looking for, if they're exactly the same, that would mean they'd be on top of each other, and that's what they are. We only see one of them. Okay? So what we're looking for there is that the graph of both functions will be exactly the same. So now we're looking at the graph of both functions is exactly the same. Okay, that's the idea. That's how we can check our answers. So if you plug in on the calculator, if we can plug in the question that it gives you, the answer that you got, if you look at your table, you should notice y1 and y2 are the same. That's a way to verify your answer is correct. And then also, if you look at your graph, you should see nothing but one graph because they're exactly the same. They're on top of each other. Okay, good luck on the test tomorrow. You guys are going to do great. Thanks for watching.